All right, what's up, guys? I'm Luca,
And I'm John.
and this Explain Stuff podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by JerseyBirdShop.com. Number one in quality, price, ship it to you day after, handmade, stitched in the USA. Use our code Explain20 at checkout for 20% off. Big promo going on right now. Jerseys are about $20 off, and then you get our deal. Go check it out. Link will probably be in the description. But today we got an extremely special guest for you guys, Harrison Elliott. Harrison played at Air Force Academy, played with the Broncos and the Colts, and is now a free agent with workouts lined up with a couple NFL teams coming up here in the next week. We are very lucky to have him. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing all right.
We're doing all right.
Living the dream?
Yeah, living the dream. Living
Yeah.
the dream.
Good. You guys, New York was pretty crazy after that COVID stuff.
Yeah, it was.
It's
It's
nuts,
still pretty
yeah.
shut down. I mean, the gym's just open, so we've been a little bit more busy, but
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
Georgia's like wide open, man.
yeah. I wish we were out there.
I don't think we remember there's COVID going on.
Yeah, I wish we were out there. I mean, it definitely sucks.
Yeah. Well, what's popping?
Nothing. So, we got we put on our TikTok, we said, who do you guys want to see on the podcast? And a lot of them said, get a long snapper. And we were like, that would be the last person we thought. So we tried to find a bunch of people, and you were one of the first people that came with my recommended. And, I love Air Force. I want to be in the Air Force one day. So I thought it was a great fit. But yeah, so how did you become a long snapper? Because not many people show up at, middle school football and say, I want to play long snapper.
Yeah. So, how did I become? So originally, the real reason I became a long snapper is when I was in fourth grade. My coach told me, because I could also kind of kick at that level, and all that was like whoever has a big foot. So he's like, hey, you can either kick off or you can punt. And so I figured out that if I could kick off and then also long snap, play on both plays. So I ended up kicking off and then I long snap. So and I was decently good at it through, I think, like middle school was pretty solid, and then decided I wanted to pursue it a little more. And in high school, the reason I took it more serious is I didn't really hit like my full growth spurt till like after college as far as like getting athletic. So I realized if I wanted to, my high school was pretty good at football. And we were 5A large football in Georgia, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, if I actually want to play and see the field and I want to keep playing football, I need to find something that doesn't depend on my athleticism.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna make it. So I was a little kind of a white boy that could move. So I was like, I just ball, go on the field, take my time, and then and not try to do anything fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So is that kind of when you realized you became good at long snapping? In high school or?
Yeah. So so I actually coming out of high school, I was back then was like the fourth ranked in the country when I accepted an offer to Air Force.
Wow.
So it was kind of nice to get some credibility on that aspect.
Yeah.
But like no one really knows this because I haven't shared it, but I had an offer to play D1 football at Air Force and walk-ons at a couple different bigger schools.
Yeah.
After only starting one game at punts in high school. I had started field goals the entire season.
Yeah.
And I was a better long snapper than the guys that were in front of me, but our coach really emphasized downfield coverage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So both of our guys in front of me got hurt, and so I started my last game of the season was a playoff game against Grayson, who's a big school down here. And so after that game, I basically cut film to send out to schools on those punt snaps only. I was perfect, like 5 for 5 that game, so I used all 5 snaps. And I was on scholarship going into my senior year after only one game starting, so it was pretty wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what was your recruitment process like at going to Air Force? What was that like?
I got offered. The way the academies work a lot of times is they'll come out and they'll offer guys really early because they want to catch their attention before the big schools get to them. And so I offered really early. I was offered in July before my senior year, which normally long snappers aren't offered or even given a walk-on spot until sometimes even as late as like June. Like they graduated high school, they're still waiting in the last second. we're like the last guys to even get considered. Like everybody looks for quarterbacks, their running backs, their D linemen,
receivers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, do we have an extra spot? Yeah. Oh, let's give it to a long snapper, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, so I was committed. I was like the second guy in my entire class as a long snapper to commit, and I was committed by August. So I had a whole year when I was committed. So it was different for me. But I kind of knew education-wise that I wanted to go to the academy. It was a good education. Yeah. It was Division I football. I got to play in a lot of great, awesome stadiums that folks will never get to play for just because I played for an academy.
Yeah.
So that part was awesome. But it was just recruiting was pretty simple. Like I just had to go through the whole congressman. There's a whole big process for that entire thing. It's really frustrating, but it's worth it. I mean, technically I was a walk-on, so they didn't have to use a blue chip. I had good enough grades to get in directly. Mm-hmm. And so I guess you could technically call me a walk-on, but everybody there is on scholarship. So it doesn't matter.
Because we live about 20, 25 minutes away from Arnold.
Don't say it.
From Arnold.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. You said it.
And
knew where you're going with it. It's like, oh, that forsaken school.
We've had a couple kids go there, and they said it's about like a 2-year process with the congressman. And some people I've heard is less, but was it like a 2-year process?
It's about a year. It's long because it's like you have to apply for a congressman, not an election, but a slot. Your district only gets so many, and then once you get a recommendation, then it passes on to interviews, and then you have to interview for the board. And it's like you walk into a room like a senior in high school or a junior in high school, and you're interviewing in front of like 12 grown people. Mm-hmm. Like this is, I feel like I'm interviewing for a CEO position, not
this is for real.
And they're asking you questions left and right. And then and they're not really going to ask you questions on like, hey, schoolwork, because everyone they're interviewing has really good grades. They're going to ask you extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And then after that process, then they pass you on to the school, and that's when you go into admissions, and that's where you get whittled down to like 10,000 or 1,000. It's like and it's some football does help sometimes. Like football team can say, hey, we really want this guy, but most of the time it just kind of comes down to, do you have the extracurriculars to make it, because everybody has the grades.
Yeah. So. Because it's only just getting to the academy is unbelievable. It's like a 9% acceptance rate. So, it's unbelievable. But so once you were an undrafted free agent and you signed with the Broncos, did you get exempt from your military duties with the?
No. So let me clarify that. I never got drafted by the Broncos. I actually never signed a contract. I would love to. So I went to my last football season was 2014. I was graduating in 2015. I did not get drafted. I got called on draft day by the Bears. Yeah. They went with Rick Lovato, a good buddy of mine at Old Dominion. And so later on, the Broncos had to bring me in for rookie minicamp, which, if you guys don't know, is kind of like it's almost like a walk-on tryout. Mm-hmm. Like normally they're going to bring all their draft guys in, all the free agents they sign, and then they're going to bring in kind of like a bunch of walk-ons. They're going to fill in the roster because they want to get those. They want to get those rookies that they've signed. They want to get them live looks. And so a lot of guys are there just for kind of to be a body, and you get to showcase your talent, but they're not really looking. And so I went into rookie minicamp with the Broncos, did really well, but I had to serve 2 years.
Okay.
So when I left there, I came back the next March for a workout with the Broncos, and that's when Casey Kreider was like 5 guys there. Casey Kreider won the job. He got signed that day. And then I went later in April or May, I went to minicamp with the Colts, and the same thing. They wanted to sign me, but the military still required 2 years of service. And after I left, I don't know if you guys know Austin Cutting. He's a snapper for the Vikings. He's also an Air Force grad. And then Joe Cardona is a Navy grad. He's down in the Navy. Austin Cutting just finished his rookie season. When he was coming out, Trump actually changed that whole stuff and allowed him to directly play. Now he's still kind of doing when he has off days, like on Tuesdays when the NFL has off days, he has to go in to an active duty job and work on a day. So that part kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But in order to play in the NFL, it's like, hey, I'll do anything. I'll do whatever you want me to do. So they've changed now. Trump's done a great job, and like
Great job.
Football's a big deal. We should definitely promote. It does a lot for the Air Force in regards to advertisement.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we do keep that. But luckily they got to be a ghost in the clear, and so I took like 3 years off from my free agency. In 2017, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, so I actually got therapy retired.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it took me like 2 years to get my body. I went from like 255 pounds down to like 212. It was bad.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, I'm done. I'm quitting football. I'm done because I can't take this mentally. My body needs a break.
Yeah.
About not quite a year ago, but pretty close. It was me and my wife were like, hey, my body feels great. I'm a lot stronger, a lot faster than I used to be. Might as well try. So that was kind of what brought the revival back. So
okay. Yeah, because my brother, my dad's friend, his son was the goalie for University of Albany lacrosse. Yeah. And at the Final Four, he went like completely like blurred vision and was played the entire game. He couldn't see anything. And he still had, like a 50% save ratio, but a lot of guys, especially in sports, don't understand that they have it, and there's a lot of stories of guys going blind, blurred in the middle of games. Did something like that ever happen to you? Like in anything?
Game? No, because I haven't played football with it, but definitely like in other times, yeah. I mean, I'll have like if I go low, I'll like wake up in the middle of the night just completely drenched in sweat and like you're pretty blurred, but you just kind of feel like you're kind of about to pass out. Like when you finish a hard workout and then you sit down for a while and you stand up really quick and you're like, whoa, that's what I'm feeling the whole time. It sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, you just got to roll the punches. Not everybody's perfect. As much as I wish I had a perfect pancreas, I don't. So I just got to roll the punches.
Yeah. So what was your kind of reaction when the Broncos called you to come to minicamp? Was it what was the turnaround from getting the call and actually getting to minicamp, like getting packed up and?
Yeah, so I was in college in Colorado Springs. So I was only an hour away from their actual facility. Mm-hmm. But when they called me, I was actually in class. I was sitting in class.
Really?
I was like, hey, I got to use the restroom. I got to step out. Mm-hmm. I walked out. I wasn't expecting to be a call from them. And then I answered the phone. It was like, hey, this is blah, blah, blah from the Denver Broncos. And I was like, whoa, it's like, sweet, here we go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I actually could not get approved by the academy to miss. They were like, hey, you can't miss class. You can't go because you're going to miss class. Yeah. So luckily, my commander at the time was like, hey, just check with your teachers, see if they're okay with it. We're going to just kind of put it on the DL, right? We're not going to do the official process for this because the academy doesn't really care. It's like, hey, you're here to do one thing, and that's to serve. And so it's a bonus. So luckily, I had the folks in place that were like, we're going to keep this really hush-hush. Go do your thing. I think I missed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday were camp. So I had to miss all day Friday class. Saturday wasn't a big deal. And then Sunday, kind of got to relax. My sister and brother-in-law lived in Denver at the time, so I got to kind of go kick back and relax. But they worked my butt off in Denver. I mean, it was like two-a-days. So 2 days of 2-a-days. So 4 practices in 2 days. And I snapped and worked like the full 2 hours each time. So like on Sunday, it was like laying there just stiff as a board.
Yeah. So as of right now, what's your most memorable moment in being with the Colts? Like what in the NFL, what's been your most memorable moment that you can think of?
I don't know. I think one of the coolest things I got to do is when I walked into Denver's facilities and my locker was – I didn't really have a locker. I was using another player's locker because they were in there. But I walked by and I saw Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had 2 lockers at the time. Yeah. And one whole locker is full of his playbooks and stuff, and his other locker is his clothes. So it's kind of weird. Like nobody in the locker room had 2 lockers except for him, and one of them was for his playbooks. And then as I'm walking out the field, they're like, because John Elway runs a pretty tight ship up there, and we're walking out, and all the guys start jogging. Right, we touch the field. I'm like, why are we? They're like, you need to jog, dude. I'm like, why are we jogging? It's like, well, to be honest, nobody really knows. It was just 2 years ago when Peyton Manning showed up. Peyton Manning, first step he took on the field, he started jogging. So now everybody has to jog. It's just like just like leadership. That's like
Yeah.
the leadership. That was pretty cool. And then the Colts was pretty awesome getting to be up there and work for a job. A lot of the coaches wanted to sign me, but kind of upper leadership said, hey, we're going to stick with our current guy. So it was cool to have somebody on your side. But just I think the best part's just meeting the guys. Like, they're good dudes. Locker rooms are great guys. It's a fun atmosphere. You got to be a professional, work hard. But the friendships I've made is kind of what drives me to keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a workout with the Falcons on Monday. What was the turnaround like from the call to the actual workout?
Yeah, so I got called, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. And they said, hey, we're going to do a workout Monday, but we got to start COVID testing Friday and Saturday. So
okay.
Saturday, Sunday. So I think I got called Wednesday or Thursday. And they were working out 3 different punter kicker combo guys. They're going to have an open, it sounds like they're going to have an open roster spot on the practice squad for a combo guy. And so they had 3 guys showing up. So really I showed up to kind of get a live look on camera in case Josh Harris, my good buddy over there, the long snapper there now, in case he gets hurt. They have somebody local that they can bring in.
Yeah.
But they had 3 punters. So it was a pretty quick turnaround. Luckily, I got to stay home. I didn't have to go show up and stay in a hotel for 3 days. Like a lot of these other teams are doing. They fly you in. You got to stay in a hotel for 3 days and kind of lay low and then show up and do your workout. And then after, it's like, all right, see you later.
Yeah.
If you're not the guy they want to sign, see you never.
Yeah.
So it was nice being able to. I live in Alpharetta down here in Atlanta, so I got to drive every day, which was pretty easy. But pretty quick turnaround, and then we tested Saturday morning, tested Saturday morning, and then Sunday morning pretty early, and then Monday we had to show up really early. Our physical started at 6, so I had to be up at 4 to get up there, and then we were in physicals all morning, kind of doing our medical checkups. And we had to go do COVID testing one more time. We had to wait 2 hours for those results to come back, and then we were on the field. So it was a long day. It was a long day, but a good day. But the turnaround was right now. It's kind of weird because the turnaround is quick as far as if a team calls. Normally, if a team calls you, it's like, hey, we want you to come out for a workout. We're actually booking your flight for tonight, and you're like, oh, it's like, right, like, let me go pack real quick. I'll be on my way.
Yeah.
So working a job is a little difficult, but it's kind of weird because the turnaround's fast. However, you have to test for 3 days. So it's like, get excited, but now we're going to sit in the hotel for 3 days and then we'll go. So
all right,
sounds quick, but actual timeline is a little bit slower than normal.
Yeah. So what's a day as a free agent, and you know that you can get called for workout at any time? What's a day of eating, like nutrition and workouts?
Your diet, basically,
to keep you ready to go to a workout.
Yeah. So as a diabetic, I do intermittent fasting. So I don't eat, but I only eat between like 1 and 9 o'clock in the afternoon. Yep. So normally my training sessions are in the afternoon after my first meal, but sometimes I'll get in the morning. It depends. Normally I'll snap in the morning, and then I snap pretty early so I can. And I probably snap 2-3 times a week with a couple other free agents down here in Atlanta, and then I'll come back. I work a typical 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job, so I work all day, and then I'll hop on and work out in the afternoon. So normally I'll eat around 1 o'clock, and kind of throw a snack in right before my workout, which is like 4 to 5 o'clock. And then I'll eat again that night. So I normally stick to like maybe two meals and a snack, possibly 3 meals, depending on what I'm feeling. But if I were to get signed, I would probably have to increase the amount I eat just because a lot busier, longer days, got to keep weight on. A lot of it's drinking a lot of water to make sure the body can regulate. But really just kind of chicken, veggies, typical meal prep stuff, just kind of switch it up. I try to stay away from really high carb stuff just from diabetes. Like I don't really do pasta or anything like that, but try to stay pretty clean, but I still get my cheat meals in occasionally.
So if you were to get signed, because I know you're pretty close to the Falcons, if you were to get signed to any other team, would you move to that area for the season, or would you try to stay at home And
so my wife lives down here. I have a wife and I have a German Shepherd. I have a dog.
Mhm.
So it kind of depends on the role. I think originally it would be to try to do. We've talked about it, but the first couple of weeks I think would be let me just get an apartment, a furnished apartment. I'll live there for a little bit, and then we'll see kind of how it goes. Just because there's a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Like for example, you can get signed and the next day they can cut you.
yeah,
Right. Mhm.
It is kind of crazy. It's like, man, I got to uproot my family. So that part's a little nerve wracking. So I think the first season me and my wife would probably play it pretty easy and just have her fly out and visit and every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then the following year, kind of see how it goes. But it's always your rookie season. It's kind of sketchy to show up and buy a house or something like that.
yeah.
I think I kind of always want to stay in the Atlanta area, Southeast. So even in off seasons, I'd probably come back. There's a good amount of guys that train down here, so that would be kind of ideal. And my family's from down here, and so I think that would be the ideal situation. Would just be live in season wherever the location is, and then travel back this way for off season.
Yeah. So I know you work for Special Teams U, which is like a big training for special teams players around the country. But after 5 years down the line, said and done, you're done with NFL, done with football. Would you like to coach somewhere at a college or in the NFL or?
It'd be awesome. So the past 3 seasons, I actually coached high school football and coached special teams for a couple different teams, and had a blast. The only reason I got asked to coach by 2 different teams this year, but the only reason I'm not doing it is I just want to kind of give myself some time and space to keep pursuing football myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like if I were coaching on the field, it'd be pretty hard. It's kind of taxing. It's 2 hours a day. It takes up time. You're kind of 2 hours on your feet is kind of like almost like a small workout. So really just need to focus on my training and my workouts. And so that's the only reason I'm not doing it now. And that's why I just kind of stick with coaching one-on-one lessons for a lot of long snappers down here. But I think eventually, I'd love to coach again. I don't know if I'll ever do it full time.
Mm-hmm.
That depends kind of on the job. I really do like business. I love the job I have. So I like that aspect. So that's just kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, it was an honor
that's
having
pretty
you
much
on.
it.
It was really, really fun having you on. And
Definitely. Listen,
so
good luck with the Falcons, man.
We really hope you get signed and we see you on Sundays next year and we see you on the TV and be like, we know that guy.
Yeah, man.
That's Harrison. That's Harrison out there.
There you go. Yeah. Don't, Luca, John, don't ever be afraid. If I ever do make it, hopefully I do. Feel free to tag me up, slide my DMs, and I'll try to send you some stuff if I can.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely. Thanks, man.
If I'm ever up in New York, I'll try to slide you guys some tickets too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That'd be sick.
Man, that's awesome. Thank you.
And thank you guys for doing it. This is awesome.
All right, thank you. No problem.
No, thank you.
You betcha.
All right. I'm Luca.
See ya. And I'm John.
And this Explain Yourself podcast. See you guys next time.
See ya.